Generative AI has absolutely exploded, hasn't it? It feels like it went from a cool headline to a corporate must-have in the blink of an eye. So today, we're going to break down the key findings from the 2025 Wharton and GBK Collective report to see how we got here. The conversation has totally shifted from, what is this thing, to the much bigger question, is it actually worth it?
You can really see this journey in three distinct waves. First, you had 2023, exploration. Think of this as companies just dipping their toes in the water, a lot of cautious optimism, maybe trying it out on a few simple tasks. Then 2024 hit, and it was all about experimentation. Suddenly, usage and spending shot up as different departments launched pilots. But that initial wow factor started to fade, and people began looking for real, tangible value. And that brings us to right now, 2025, what the report calls accountable acceleration. AI isn't a side project anymore. It's baked into core operations. And the focus? It's all about ROI, guardrails, and real performance.
So our first big finding is just how normal AI has become in the workplace. It's really gone from being this shiny new toy to an essential tool. But you have to see how fast this happened to really get it.
Let's rewind the clock just to 2023. Back then, only about 37% of business leaders were using Gen AI every week. This was definitely the early adopter phase.
Okay, now watch this. By 2024, just 1 year later, that number practically doubled to 72%. This was the explosion, right? This is when companies and their teams got serious about figuring out what this tech could really do for them.
And today, a whopping 82%. So think about that. For more than 4 out of 5 business leaders, Gen AI is a weekly habit. It's no longer a question, it's just part of the toolkit.
But, and this is a big but, just because it's mainstream doesn't mean everyone is on the same page. We're seeing this huge divide opening up between different industries. You look at a sector like tech and telecom, and weekly use is almost universal, 94%. But then you look at others, like retail, and it's way lower. This gap between the leaders and the laggards is becoming a massive competitive issue, affecting everything from basic efficiency to how fast you can innovate.
All right, so with everyone using it so much, that leads us right to our second major theme, proving its value. I mean, with all this time and money being poured in, executives are, pretty reasonably, asking to see a return.
This is the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? It's what every C-suite is asking. After all the hype, after all the budget approvals, are companies actually seeing a real benefit to their bottom line? Well, the first part of the answer is pretty clear. The days of just playing around with AI are over. A solid majority of firms, 72% of them, are now formally measuring its return on investment. We're talking structured, business-focused metrics. Accountability is the new standard.
And what are those measurements actually showing? Well, if you combine the significantly positive and the somewhat positive groups, you find that almost 3/4 of firms are already seeing a positive return. So for the most part, it seems like that big bet on AI is paying off. And that, of course, just encourages even more confident investment down the line.
And this brings us to our final, and honestly, maybe the most critical theme. The technology is getting better and better. So the new bottleneck for AI success? It's not the code, it's not the hardware, it's the people.
This is where we see this really fascinating conflict, what the report calls the skill paradox. On the one hand, you have a huge majority of leaders, almost 90%, who agree that Gen AI makes their employees better and enhances their skills. But on the other hand, almost half of those same leaders are worried that relying on it too much will actually cause core human skills to weaken. It's this delicate balance, right? The very tool that makes you stronger could, in some ways, also make you weaker if you're not careful. And this isn't just some abstract idea. This quote really brings it home. You've got a manager in the retail sector, an industry we just saw was lagging a bit in adoption, saying that Gen AI skill is now a requirement for all new hires. That totally changes the game. It's not just a tech tool anymore. It's a fundamental workplace skill, just like knowing how to use a spreadsheet or send an email.
So, after seeing this whole journey from just exploring AI to demanding accountability, what's the big picture? It really seems like a new kind of division is taking shape across the business world.
Let's quickly recap the 3 key takeaways that set the stage for what's next. First, AI is an everyday thing now, but there's a growing performance gap between different industries. Second, the age of accountability is here to stay. And the good news is, most companies are seeing a positive ROI. And third, the biggest hurdle to success isn't the tech anymore. It's all about the people.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. The big question going forward isn't whether a company uses AI. Pretty soon, almost everyone will. The real divide, the one that will separate the winners from the losers, is between the organizations that successfully empower their people with it and those that don't. The technology is here, but it's the human strategy that's going to determine who comes out on top. So the question is, where will your organization land?